In this video, I'm just going to talk through cube values and why they're a great alternative to bringing lots of data into an Excel spreadsheet, especially if your data is more than 1 million rows. At some point, you just can't get it into a single sheet. But also, like even at 200,000 rows, it's most computers will start slowing down. So this is just giving you a view. So what we normally do is we connect to external data, or we copy paste in, etc. In this example, I have a data set which is coming from SQL, and I have chosen to load it using Power Query, chosen to load it to a connection and to add it to the data model. And what that then does for me is it loads all the transactions into the data model, and I can run reports on it. So if I go insert and I go pivot table from data model, then immediately the data model is available to me, and I can pull in ledger name and code, and I can pull in the amount, for example, and there you'll see I've got a balanced set of books. This is financial data. You also see further down you've got this FX actual amount. That's me creating a measure, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, and let me show you the benefit of it. If I push that in, then you'll see it's already formatted, it's rounded, it's got thousands separated, etc. And that is a whole another area of this data model called measures, under manage measures, and you'll see there is a calculation as an example. So that's a whole new thing around data modeling and Power Queries. You may already have been familiar with it, but I'm going to, for my example, work off of that. So I've now just kept my measure. It does work as well on just the normal data intersection. But what I want to show you here is what it would look like if you were to use the underlying Q value capabilities inside of Excel. So just to increase the just the reach of this calculation, I'm going to go here and go up to my dates. And you can do all sorts of fancy things like date tables, etc., etc. And I'm going to just go and add that as a slicer. So there are all my various dates. And if I just go here and I choose one date, you'll see there's my underlying transaction. If I choose a couple of dates, we'll do then, like I say, we can add a calendar Power Query item, so you can start grouping into year, month, quarter, fiscal year, etc. That's all another video. So I'm going to just start by showing all of that. I'm going to copy the pivot table, and I'm going to click on this pivot table here. And I'm going to go to Pivot Table Analyze, down to OLAP Tools, and I'm going to say Convert to Formulas. And the Convert to Formulas is just going to do exactly that. It's going to give you the underlying data. So if I went to now change my month or the date, if I just choose a single item, you'll see now my pivot table is going to obviously shrink. My remaining Q value area doesn't change in size because now it's actually a cell by cell reality, much like a SUMIFS, etc. And over here I can put in some spacing, I can move a single cell out, etc. So I've got a lot more flexibility around moving things around, and then, like I say, if I change the date, that'll automatically change. So I'm going to just bring this guy back in, and that's version 1, and you'll be able to work from there. What you'll see down the line, though, is that you're wanting to create it a bit more dynamic and give yourself the ability to not have calculations in each of the cells. So you'll see this cell here says, if I just go into it, you'll see it's pulling to the left and it's pulling to the header. And if I look at the formula bar, it's just referencing those two cells. But there is intelligence in the cell, and this cell is telling me I'm going to data finance, actual, I'm going to the ledger account name and code, and I'm looking for where it's freight and courier 425, which is great until you change the spelling, etc. And so for that reason, what you want to do is you're wanting to bring in a little bit more flexibility into that calc. And so in another video, I'll go into the detail of this, but effectively what you can do is you could move this across and replace that, and I can now, let me just go back and copy paste special values that, and now I can go and link this to the left. So you'll see it has no relationship to there, but all the intelligence is embedded in here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the name out, so I get back to that environment. Then I'm going to do a text qualifier, and I'm going to put in 2 ands or ampersands, and then I'm going to link the cell, and you'll see now it gives me back to where we were. So if I now went delete all of that out, and even that one, delete that out, copy that formula, and just go and paste it back to there, delete those 2 out as an example. Go to the pivot table, which has now got my latest data, paste special values, now I've got my data. If I just want to choose for a certain set of dates, and I don't want to have all of those fields, I can now paste, and now it'll grow, and then I can delete that out again. Obviously what you can do is you can build in an if error. So go if error, and what is it? If I get an error, I want to put a naught in. I can then copy that all the way down, and then if I change my pivot to just be a day, I can go there and delete that out. So I've got the ability, and if I did a full, it'll just work off what it was. So that gives you a quick view. There's just so much more you can do with this. I'm not giving you best practices or anything like that. I'm just giving you a very quick start where you can just take a pivot table, convert it to Q values and work from there. Or if you want to parameterize what this is going to be, you can bring in that syntax. So hopefully that's a good start.